So good afternoon, students. Today I'm going to discuss chapter number 2, physical features of India. So today I'm going to provide you an overall idea about chapter number 2, physical features of India. Okay, means in this chapter, physical features of India, there are 6 major physiographic divisions which has been discussed in details. So I'm just trying to give you an overall information or overall view of this chapter in brief. So let us start with the discussion. So as discussed earlier in the previous chapter, chapter number 1 about the India size and location, we came to know that India is one of the largest country in the world. Okay, it ranks 7th with a total area of 3.28 million square kilometer. And this 3.28 million square kilometer area is equivalent to 2.4% of the geographical area of the world actually. So as we are having a very large geographical area that is 3.28 million square kilometer, in our country, we find different types of physical features. Okay, in our country, we find different types of physical features, like from the extreme north to the south, from the west to the east, different types of landforms or the physical features can be found in our country. Like as we move from the north to the south, we encounter or become first we come the Himalayas is there, and then we come to the northern plains, the peninsular plateau, and then in the eastern and the western side we are having the coastal plains, the Indian desert in the west. Okay, the island groups in the Bay of Bengal and in the Arabian Sea. These are the different physical features which exist in our country actually. Okay, so our country, India, it displays great physical variation. Our country, India, it displays great physical variation. That means different types of physical features or relief features exist in our country. And out of these physical features, different physical features and the relief features, the peninsular plateau is one of the ancient landmarks on the Earth's surface actually. The peninsular plateau region of our country, it is a part, okay, it is the landform which is the oldest landmass on the earth actually, which is a part of the oldest landmass. Okay, and it is believed that this peninsular plateau is a stable land block actually. Okay, it is a stable land block which existed many millions of years, okay, means before the formation of the Himalayas, northern plains and all. And this peninsular plateau region has led to the formation to the other physiographic features actually, like the Himalayan mountains, the northern plains and all. They all came into existence, okay, because of the collision of the Indo-Australian and the Eurasian plate and destruction of some part of this peninsular plateau actually. Okay, so from the viewpoint of geology, okay, in our country, India, we are having different types of physical features. That is the peninsular plateau, the Himalayan mountains, and all. Okay, so the peninsular plateau is the oldest landmass, and it is the stable land block. And the Himalayas, they represent the most recently formed landform. Actually, okay, the Himalayas is the recently formed landform in our country, and which is geologically unstable. The landform, the Himalayan landform is geologically unstable actually, because the process of formation of the Himalayas is still going on. Okay, still we can find that the different land features are being carved out, they are being saved in this Himalayan region actually. Okay, and this is why the Himalayas is considered as an unstable zone actually. Okay, from where many rivers has carved out, many highest peaks can be found in this region actually. Okay. So basically, the Himalayan region is an uplifted mountain areas and all. Okay, where which is the source of the many rivers and all. Okay, which is also the source of different glaciers and all. Okay, and it is mainly made up of the sedimentary rocks and all. Okay, whereas the peninsular plateau region is made up of the igneous and the metamorphic rocks with gently rising hills and the wide valleys. Okay, the peninsular plateau is mainly made up of the igneous and the metamorphic rocks with gently rising hills and the wide valleys. And the northern plains is a flat land mainly composed of the alluvial deposits. So these alluvial deposits, it makes the northern plains very much fertile, and which is mainly used for agricultural practice actually. Okay, so these are the three main geological divisions of our country actually. But if we try to study in details about the different features, land features of our country, then we have to study about the 6 major land features which exist in our country. And these 6 major land features in our country are also known as the major physiographic divisions. they are also considered as the major physiographic divisions of our country, such as the Himalayan mountains, the northern plains, the peninsular plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains, and the islands. Okay, these are the 6 major physiographic divisions of our country, or the physical features of our country. So let us now start with the Himalayan mountains. Let us have some general information of the Himalayan mountains. So as said, the Himalayan mountains is geologically young and it is structurally a fold mountain. Okay, it is a geologically young relief feature on the earth, and it is actually a fold mountain because it has been formed because of the folding and the faulting of the rocks, okay, rocks which were lying in the interior of the earth actually. So these mountain ranges, or the Himalayan mountain ranges, they basically run from the west to the east direction. Okay, the Himalayan mountains, they run from the west to the east direction, and the total length of the Himalayan mountain ranges is 2,400 kilometers. That means from the extreme west to the east, the Himalayan mountains is 2,400 kilometers long, and the width of the Himalayas, it varies from 400 kilometers to 150 kilometers. Okay, like the width of the Himalayas is maximum around 400 kilometers in Jammu and Kashmir, while it is only 150 kilometers in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, the Himalayan mountains can be divided, okay, from the west to the east as well as from the north to the south. So if we talk about the division of the Himalayas from the north to the south, or the longitudinal divisions of the Himalayas actually, so it can be divided into 3 main divisions. That is the Himadri, or the Greater Himalaya, then the Lesser Himalaya, or the Himachal Himalaya, and the Sivaliks, or the Outer Himalayas. Okay, so basically the northernmost part of range, okay, the northernmost range of the Himalayas is known as the Great Himalaya or the Inner Himalaya, and this part of the Himalayas, okay, it remains covered with snow throughout the year, and the average height of this Himalayan region, that is the Greater Himalayas, is around 6,000 meters. Okay, and some of the prominent mountain peaks of the Himalayan regions can be found in this region. Next to the Himadri or the Greater Himalayas lies the Lesser Himalaya or the Himachal Himalaya. Lies the Lesser Himalaya or the Himachal Himalaya actually. Okay, so this Lesser Himalaya or the Himachal Himalaya, it has an average altitude of 3,700 to 4,500 kilometers, and the average width is 50 kilometers. Okay, the average width is 50 kilometers, and the altitude, it varies between 3,700 to 4,500 kilometers. And in this part of the Himalayan ranges, okay, in this part of the Himalayas actually, that is in the Lesser Himalaya or the Himachal Himalaya, 3 prominent mountain ranges are there. That is the Pir Panjal range, the Dhauladhar range, and the Mahabharat range. Okay, these are the 3 important chain of mountains or the mountain ranges which can be found in this part. Even this part of the Himalayas is also famous for the valleys, for the beautiful valleys, which are the tourist attract, center of tourism actually, such as the Kashmir Valley, the Kangra and the Kuli Valley in Himachal Pradesh, and also some of the famous hill stations can be found in this region, such as Nainital, Mussoorie, Simla, and all. Okay. And towards the south of this great Lesser Himalaya of the Himachal Himalaya lies the Sivaliks. The Sivaliks is the outermost part of the Himalayas, or you can say the foothills of the Himalayas is known as the Sivaliks, and the average width here ranges. Okay, the average width of the Sivaliks ranges between 900 to 1100 meter actually. Okay, it ranges between 900 to 1100 meter, and the average width is 10 to 50 kilometer actually. Okay, so this is what about the divisions of the Himalayas from the north to the south, or the longitudinal divisions of the Himalayas. So the Himalayan part, okay, in this Himalayan part actually we can find some of the highest peaks of the world, like the Mount Everest, which is the highest peak of the world, is found in this Himalayan region. Then Kanchenjunga, which is the second highest peak of the Himalayas, can be found in the Indian territory actually. Okay, so this is what about the Himalayas divisions, longitudinal divisions of the Himalayas from the north to the south actually. Now, if we talk about the divisions of the Himalayas from the west to the east actually, okay, besides the longitudinal Himalayas, the Himalayas can be divided from the west to the east. So from the west to the east, the Himalayas has been mainly divided into different subdivisions according to the rivers, according to the demarcations made by the rivers. Okay, so the part of the Himalayas which lies between the Indus and the Satluj river is known as the Punjab Himalaya. Okay, so the part of the Himalaya which lies between the Satluj and the Indus river is the Punjab Himalaya. It is also known as the Kashmir of the Himachal Himalaya. Then, in between the Satluj and the Kali river, it is known as the Kumaon Himalaya, and basically the state of Uttarakhand and some part of Himachal Pradesh, it falls under this region. Okay, between Satluj and Kali river, which is known as the Kumaon Himalaya. Again, in between the Kali river and the Tista river in Sikkim, it forms the Nepal Himalaya. Okay, the part of the Himalaya in between the Kali river and the Tista river is known as the Sikkim Himalaya. Oh, sorry, it is known as the Nepal Himalaya. Okay, and in this part of the Nepal Himalaya, we are having some of the highest peaks of the Himalaya, like the Mount Everest, the Kanchenjunga, and all. Okay, they all can be found in this Nepal Himalayas. Beyond the Tista river, till the Dihang Gorge in Arunachal Pradesh, the part of the Himalayas which lies is known as the Assam Himalaya. Okay, it is known as the Assam Himalaya, and basically it includes the state of Arunachal Pradesh and the country of Bhutan. Okay, so this is what about the divisions of the Himalayas from the west to the east according to the demarcations made by the rivers. But one important characteristics of the Himalayas is that the Himalayas, they run from the west to the east till the Dihang Gorge, that is near Namcha Barwa. But after that, the Himalayas, it takes a sharp bend and it moves towards the southern side. Okay, it takes a sharp bend and moves towards the southern side actually. So this southernmost extension of the Himalayas in the northeastern part of our country is known as the Purvanchal or the eastern hills and mountains. Okay, it is known as the Purvanchal or the eastern hills and mountains. Okay, and it is mainly divided. It is like some of the important hills of this Purvanchal or the eastern hills and mountains is the Patkai Hills, the Naga Hills, the Manipur Hills, and the Mizo Hills. And this Purvanchal hill is mainly dominated. Okay, it is mainly inhabited by many of the ethnic tribes. Okay, by many of the ethnic tribal peoples living in the state of Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram. Okay, so this is what about the Himalayas as a major physiographic divisions of our country. The next to the Himalayas lies the northern plains. The northern plains, it covers a very large geographical area. Okay, and it is the most fertile plain of our country. Actually, it is the most fertile area of our country. The total area of the northern plain is around 7 lakh square kilometer. The northern plain, it occupies a total area of 7 lakh square kilometer, and the total length is 2,400 kilometer, and the width, it varies between 240 to 300 kilometer actually. The northern plains has been mainly formed by the deposition of the sediments which were brought down by the three major rivers and their tributaries. So basically, the three important rivers which has led to the formation of the northern plains are the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. Okay, these three rivers, along with their tributaries, they has brought down the sediments from the Himalayan region. They deposited the sediments in the foothills of the Himalayan region and led to the formation of the northern plains. The northern plains is intensively cultivated area, means most of the agricultural production is being done in this part of the country. Okay, even this part, the northern plain, is the highly dense, like densely populated part of our country. A majority of the population of our country, they live in these northern plains because the climatic condition is favorable. There is enough availability of water. The land is plain, which has supported the growth of human habitation, which has supported industrialization, which has supported the development of the transport and communications. Okay. These northern plains can also be divided, okay, into different subdivisions actually. So basically the northern plains is divided into three sections. Okay, it is divided into three sections. One is the Punjab plain, which is mainly formed by the river Indus and its tributaries. Okay, and a majority part of this Punjab plain lies in the part of Pakistan. The next is the Ganga plain, which is formed by the river Ghaggar and the Tista, which basically lies between the river Ghaggar and the Tista. And this Ganga plain is the major subdivision. Okay, it is the largest subdivision of the northern plains actually. Okay, and the Ganga plains basically include the states like Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, Bihar, some parts of Jharkhand, West Bengal, and all. Okay, and towards the northeastern part, we are having the Brahmaputra plain, and this Brahmaputra plain can be found in the state of Assam and its adjoining areas. Okay, so these are the three major subdivisions of the northern plains. That is the Punjab plains, the Ganga plains and the Brahmaputra plains. But according to the relief, okay, according to the relief or spatial characteristics, the northern plains can be subdivided into four major divisions. That is the Bhabar, the Terai, okay, the Bhangar, and the Khadar. These are the four subdivisions of the northern plains according to the relief actually. So where the Himalayan mountains ends, okay, where the foothills of the Himalayas ends actually, from there the northern plains start, and in that particular belt, okay, a narrow belt of 18 to 60-kilometer width, which lies parallel to the Shivaliks, is known as the Bhabar belt actually. The most important characteristics of this Bhavar belt is that the streams, they disappear in this belt, and in this belt basically the land is very coarse in nature. The pebbles, big boulders and stones are barely deposited here, so the rivers, they cannot flow. Okay, the major rivers they can flow, but the smaller streams and the rivers, they cannot flow from the surface, so they flow from the subsurface area actually. Next to the Bhabar belt lies the Terai belt. Okay, to the south of the Bhabar belt lies the Terai belt, and here the streams which has disappeared in the Bhabar belt, they again re-emerge. And this belt is totally marshy in nature. Okay, it is very much marshy and swampy in nature, and which has helped in the growth of the natural vegetation, in the growth of the forest and all. Okay, and this part, okay, this part of the northern plains is mainly covered with the forest. Okay, it's mainly covered with the forest, which is the house to different kinds of wild animals. Towards the south of the Terai lies the Bhangar belt. Okay, towards the south of the Terai lies the Bhangar belt, and this Bhangar belt is mainly made up of the old alluvial deposits. Okay, means it has been formed by the deposition of the sediments from a very long period of time, and the soil in this part is mainly consist of the old alluvium. So this is the reason that the Bhangar belt is not so much fertile. It is used for agriculture, but it is not so much fertile as compared to the Khadar actually. The Khadar is the part of the fourth subdivision of the northern plains, which is very much fertile. Okay, which is very much fertile because it gets renewed every year. Okay, it gets renewed every year, and like new fertile alluvium deposits are deposited here in this part actually. So this is why, okay, the soil is very much fertile to carry out the agricultural practice actually. Okay, so this is what about the northern plains and its subdivisions. The next, we are having the peninsular plateau. The peninsular plateau, as discussed earlier, it is, you can say, it is the oldest landmass of our country, and it is an uplifted flat land. It is uplifted. Okay, it means it is little bit uplifted from the sea level, but it is a flat. The top of the peninsular plateau is a flat land, which has made human habitation possible actually. Okay, and this peninsular plateau is believed to be a part of the Gondwana land, okay, which got broken into different small subdivisions, and the peninsular plateau is a small subdivision of this Gondwana land. Okay, the peninsular plateau is it can be divided into two major subdivisions. One is the Central Highland and the Deccan Plateau. The Central Highland, it basically lies in the northern part of the peninsular plateau, and the Deccan Plateau, it basically lies in the southern part of the peninsular plateau. Okay, so towards the north of the Narmada River, bounded by the Aravalis in the northwest, that part is known as the Central Highland. Okay, and which is the northernmost extension of the peninsular plateau. Okay, so this Central Highland is actually wider in the western side, and it is very much narrower in the eastern side. Okay, the Central Highland, which is a part of the peninsular plateau, it is not so large. It does not occupy a very large area like the Deccan Plateau. Okay, while on the other hand, the Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass which lies to the south of the Narmada River. Okay, towards the south of the Narmada River, bounded by the Western Ghat in the west and the Eastern Ghat in the east, lies the Deccan Plateau. Okay, lies the Deccan Plateau region. And this Deccan Plateau region is a triangular shaped landmass actually. Okay, and it is believed that a part of this Deccan Plateau had got detached during the formation of the Himalayas, and it can be found in the form of the Eastern Plateau actually. Okay, in the state of Meghalaya and some parts of Assam actually. Okay, so basically the important rivers which flow through the Central Highlands are the Chambal, Betwa, Kane, and the Son. Okay, and the slope of the land in the Central Highland is from the southwest to the northeast direction. So the river, they flow from the southwest to the southeast direction. Whereas in the Deccan Plateau, okay, the height is more in the western side as compared to the eastern side. So the general slope of the land in the Deccan Plateau is from the west to the east. And this is the reason that the rivers which originate in the Deccan Plateau region, okay, they flow towards the Bay of Bengal and they drain into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, and as I have said, that a part of the Deccan Plateau got detached during the formation of the Himalayas, and it lies as an extended part of the Deccan Plateau in the northeastern part of our country. Okay, like in the state of Meghalaya and in the Karbi Anglong and the North Kutch hills of Assam. Okay. So this is what about the Peninsular Plateau and its subdivisions actually. The most important thing about the Peninsular Plateau region is that it is mainly made up of the igneous rock, and in this Deccan Plateau region we can find the black soil. Okay, and this entire Peninsular Plateau region is the storehouse of minerals. We can find different types of minerals in this Peninsular Plateau region. Okay. So basically the Peninsular Plateau, or to be more precise, the Deccan Plateau region is mainly bounded by the Western Ghat in the west and the Eastern Ghat in the east. Okay, so this Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat, they are actually the uplifted part of the Deccan Plateau in the west and the east. Okay, so the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat, they are having some dissimilarities. There are some differences between the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat. Okay, basically the Western Ghat, it is higher in elevation than the Eastern Ghat. Okay, the height of the Western Ghat is generally 900 to 1600 meters, whereas the Eastern Ghat is having a lower elevation and the general height is around 600 meters. The Western Ghat, okay, the Western Ghat is a continuous chain of hilly ranges, okay, from the north to the south. And as we move from the north to the south in the Western Ghat, the height progressively increases. Okay, and two important peaks can be found in the Western Ghat. That is the Anaimudi peak and the Doda Beta peak. Whereas the Eastern Ghat is a discontinuous chain of small hilly regions, okay, which is mainly bifurcated, which is mainly divided into small segments, okay, because of the rivers which flow from the Deccan Plateau region to the Bay of Bengal. And only one highest peak can be found in this Eastern Ghat actually. That is the Mahendragiri Hills. Okay, so in total, there are three important peaks of the Peninsular Plateau. That is the Anaimudi, the Dota Beta, and the Mahendragiri. Okay, so the Anaimudi is the highest peak of the Peninsular Plateau region. Actually. The Anaimudi is the highest peak of the Peninsular Plateau region. Okay, so this is what about the differences between the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat. Okay, which marks the westernmost and the easternmost boundary of the Deccan Plateau. Actually. The next, we are having the Indian desert. The Indian desert, though it occupies a very small area, but it is an important physiographic division of our country. Okay, the Indian desert, it basically extends in the northwestern part, in the western part of the Aravalli Hills. Okay, in the western part of the Aravalli Hills, the Indian desert exists actually. But the rocks underlying the Indian desert, the rock layers which can be found in the Indian desert region, they have like they are the rocks which belong to the Peninsular Plateau region actually. Okay, but this rocks has been covered with the sand deposits and all. It has been covered by the sands and all. Okay, so the Indian desert is a very dry and arid region which receives a rainfall of less than 150 millimeter. Okay, less than 150 millimeter rainfall the Indian desert receives, and here the vegetation cover is very much less. Okay, during the rainy season, only few streams and the rivers they appear, but when the rainfall stops, when there is no rainfall, again the streams and the rivers they disappear actually. Okay, and the most important river of this Indian desert is the Luni River actually. It is ephemeral in nature. That means during the rainy season it has its origin, and when the rainy season is not there, the river loses its existence. Okay. In the Indian desert, we can find the longitudinal sand dunes and the Barkhan section. So near the Indo-Pakistan border, near Jaisalmer, we can find the presence of the longitudinal sand dunes, whereas a larger part of the Indian desert is mainly covered with the Barkhans, okay, or the Barchans, which are the crescent-shaped sand dunes. The next is the coastal plains. The coastal plains are the plain areas which are formed along the coastal areas of the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. So the coastal plains are mainly sandwiched between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghat in the west, and between the Eastern Ghat and the Bay of Bengal in the east. So the coastal plain which lies between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghat is known as the Western Coastal Plain, And the coastal plain which lie between the Eastern Ghat and the Bay of Bengal is known as the Eastern Coastal Plain. Okay, so basically there is a lot of differences between the Western Coastal Plain and the Eastern Coastal Plain. Okay, the Western Coastal Plain is a narrow strip of plain area which is mainly which mainly lies between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghat actually. And it is mainly divided, okay, into Konkan, Kannada, and the Malabar coast. Okay, so basically the Western Coastal Plain is mainly divided into three subdivisions. That is the Konkan Plain, which is mainly found in Maharashtra and Goa, the Kannada Plain, which is mainly found in Karnataka, and the Malabar coast, which is found in Kerala actually, the coastal areas of Kerala. Okay, these are the three subdivisions of the Western Coastal Plain. On the other hand, the Eastern Coastal Plain, they lie in along the Bay of Bengal, and it is a wider plain. It is much wider than the Western Coastal Plain. Okay, and it is mainly divided into two sections, that is the Northern Circle and the Coromandel Coast. The Eastern Coastal Plain is much fertile than the Western Coastal Plain, and this is the reason that in the Western Coastal Plain, agricultural practice is being done. Okay, means the farmers, they carry out the agricultural practice actually. Okay, basically the rivers which are flowing from the Himalayan part of from the Peninsula Plateau region, they drain into the Bay of Bengal, and before draining into the Bay of Bengal, they are depositing the sediments and all, which has led to the formation of these coastal plains, Eastern Coastal Plain actually. Okay, not only this, but the Eastern Coastal Plain also has the delta formation. Deltas has been formed in the Eastern Coastal Plain. Okay, and the lakes can also be formed here. The saline of the lakes are present here. Okay, like Lake Chilika, which is the largest saltwater lake in India, it has been formed in this Eastern Coastal Plain. In the Western Coastal Plain, deltas formations are not there, and the soil is also not so much fertile actually. And instead of delta formation in the Western Coastal Plain, we can find the presence of the estuaries. Okay, the estuaries are like the deltas only, but they are very smaller in size. Okay, they are not large like the deltas actually. Okay, so this is what about the coastal plains of our country. And the last physiographic divisions of our country is the islands. Okay, the islands are actually the uplifted land area which are mainly covered by water. Okay, on all the sides. So we are basically having two island groups. One is the Andaman and Nicobar Island group in the Bay of Bengal, and another one is the Lakshadweep Island group in the Arabian Sea. Okay, so the Lakshadweep Island group is comparatively small group of island. Okay, it mainly has a total area of 32 square kilometer. Okay, and it is like out of this 32 square kilometer, a larger portion is not inhabited. Okay, means only in some small islands actually the human habitation can be found, whereas some of the small islands of this Lakshadweep Island groups are uninhabited. Okay, this island group, the most important feature of this Lakshadweep Island group is that it is coral in origin. Okay, it has been formed because of the coral deposits, and the PT Island, which is an uninhabited island in this Lakshadweep Island group, has a bird sanctuary. Okay, this Lakshadweep Island group was earlier known as Lakadweep, Minicoy, and Amandeep, but when it became a part of India, means it became it was provided with the status of an union territory actually. Okay, it came to be known as Lakshadweep Island. Okay. On the other hand, we are having the Andaman and Nicobar Island, and it is the largest island group of our country. 572 small islands are there which combine together and form this Andaman and Nicobar Island actually. Okay, it is mainly divided into two sections, the Andaman in the north and the Nicobar in the south. Okay, and in this Andaman and Nicobar Island, we are having some of the primitive tribal peoples living in this region actually. Okay, and even the only active volcano of India, that is the Barren Island, can be found in this region. And it is believed that this Andaman and Nicobar Island is an uplifted part of the oceanic mountains. Like we are having the Himalayas on the land surface, in the same way, some mountains can be found, hilly regions can be found beneath the ocean. So this Andaman and Nicobar Island is considered to be an uplifted part of such oceanic mountains actually. Okay, so as because the Andaman and Nicobar Island, they lie very close to the equator, it is having an equatorial type of climate. Okay, and a very dense vegetation cover. Okay, so this is what about the different physiographic divisions of our country. I have provided you the basic information about all the physiographic divisions of our country, and these all physiographic divisions of our country has helped our country in different ways. Like the mountains, it is the source of water actually. It is protecting our country from the cold waves of the Central Western Asia actually. The Peninsular Plateau region is the storehouse of the minerals. Okay, the islands. Okay, and the coastal plains. Okay, the coastal plains they provides us with like the people they carry out the fishing activities and all. Okay, so all the landforms, the northern plains, it is the granary of our country actually. It means most of the agricultural production is being done there. Okay, and the demand of food of our country is met from these northern plains only. Okay, so all the physiographic features of our country are contemporary to, they are complementary to each other actually. Okay, and they has helped our country, okay, to develop socially, culturally, and economically. So this is what about the overview of chapter number 2, physical features of India.